Welcome to this week's Aiding Your Game. Carrying over from last week, we're going to be talking about character creation, and character integration into a story. We spent quite a bit of time talking about GM items and information and tips and tricks, so really flipping the script and diving a little bit more on the player side of it, I thought would be helpful and enjoyable for you. Let's jump into it. Now, before we really get into the video, make sure you go down and hit that subscribe button. If you like our content, give us the thumbs up. If you don't mind those notifications, be sure to hit the bell. And of course, comments are always welcome. I will reply to them, each on their own. As previously stated, this series of videos we're going to focus primarily on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. However, a lot of the concepts and ideas that we're going to talk about, you can adapt to any game format. So whatever RPG you're playing, these ideas and tips and tricks will be able to help you. So in the last session, we talked about character creation. We actually made a couple of characters and put them up in our D&D Beyond so that we can use them in campaigns. We talked about the importance of creating a lot of different characters just to gain experience and get creative and find ideas that really sparked our interests. And we talked about not doing characters until we have information from the GM and the table setting so that we have a good character concept that fits well with everybody else. And that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, Dungeons & Dragons is a role-playing game. So the real idea behind Dungeons & Dragons is playing the role of your character. You'll see a lot of my tips and ideas and creativity are all designed more on a storytelling and role-playing front, because that's what really speaks the most volume to me, and that's what I really enjoy the most in my games and in my content. However, for tactical players and more strategic players who are not as into role playing, more into rolling play, a lot of these tips and tricks you'll still be able to utilize in your own gameplay. It's just going to be from a different front on how that can benefit you tactically. So you've gone through, you've created a lot of characters. A lot of them have very interesting facets, and you've got a lot of time and effort and ideas put into them. What's the next step? Well, realistically, it's making sure that the characters that you've created, or finding the most compatible character that you've created to fit into the gaming world. So lots of communication with your GM. What is the game world setting, and how is it going to impact your character's origin and your development process for defining who that character is in the game world? Who am I? Who am I? As you're building your characters, knowing who they are at the start of the game is a super important aspect for you to be able to role play in the game world. This is going to help with immersion, as well as help with the other players at the table to have better immersion and better storytelling agency as a party. So by going through character development and thinking about who the character you're creating is beyond just the stat blocks and how to make the best character to accomplish a certain goal, whether it's the most amount of damage, least amount of damage received, best spells, whatever those static points are, thinking about who the character is and how their perspective on the game world, as well as other members of the party and others in the game world, is going to help you tell better stories and enjoy the stories and story arcs that your GM is putting in front of you at a whole new level. If you're not yet utilizing these aspects of role playing, I highly encourage it. As a cooperative storytelling vehicle for Dungeons & Dragons, the story is really the character's story. While one can argue that the DM really sets the stage and creates the story, I say that the DM creates an overarching story arc, but the story that unfolds at the table should be the character's story. So having the party being able to play well together and be able to support and enhance each other is extremely important. If your character is the lone wolf edgelord, be prepared for that character's development to change them, and also be prepared to both roleplay that character as well as the character's transformation as it occurs in the role-playing environment with your friends and families. Now, anytime we create characters, we should be able to have a lot of agency and free opportunity to create anything we want and really explore different themes and genres and motivations and ideals and backgrounds. But always remember that with that role-playing aspect, which I value so highly in my own games, check to make sure that the character that you're creating, you're comfortable with either using tactically in the game or as a role-playing vehicle that you can actually role-play at the table. This is going to help in a number of ways. One, your GM, as they set this fantastic stage and present an overarching story arc, will have a lot of opportunity to involve your character in the game world. And additionally, your table mates will be able to interact with that character's background and motivations and character arch, possibly even helping their own character arch in that process. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of boxes to check. Realistically, you don't need to get as involved, especially if you're newer to the game. The biggest thing you need to do is create characters that are inspiring and that you have a fun time creating, but also start to think about, as you're getting more and more involved at your table, whether it's Adventures League virtually or at an actual table, how can you role play your character utilizing the information you used to build that character from their flaws and bonds, their background, their abilities, to impact the story that's unfolding with the other characters at the game table. Sometimes this means taking a back seat and being that support personnel to help enhance and dig into other characters' stories while keeping your own close to the vest. Sometimes it means bearing it all so that others can get a good understanding of who you are playing as a character, as well as what their motivations and ideals are. Going back to last week's video, I talked a lot about having scratch paper and a pencil handy as I was creating characters so that I can jot down ideas and keep track of them. I put those into the backstory. I also put in notes just to help me better understand who that character is that I've created and how I can roleplay them at the table in a communal setting more effectively for the character. Now, if you're one of those theater kids in high school, this is going to be no problem for you at all. If you have a different type of background where you're not really comfortable role-playing a character and actually portraying the character, don't hesitate to just make sure to communicate that with your DM as well as the other parties and play that character from a third-person perspective. Narrate what your character is going to be doing in a third-person perspective and role-play your character's agency that way. You then become the role-playing narrator of your character. This is a fantastic play style and something that I see used at tables all the time. I've actually used this style at tables all the time, and really it allows your other fellow characters at the table with your character to interact with them through you. So if you're not very comfortable actually diving into the role and role-playing your character, third-party narration is great. Don't hesitate to use it, especially if you have any type of anxieties or anything to get over. This will help you over time. Now, if you don't mind popping on those different hats and actually diving in and role-playing your character, make sure to, as you're assuming that role and role-playing your character with the others around you, don't forget that not everybody has the same play style. Now, in the last video, we talked a lot about the background pieces that we assign to our characters, looking at the ideals, the flaws, the bonds, the allies, all of those pieces. Again, utilizing these and recognizing their importance in the game is going to pay dividends in your character's development. Make sure you're sharing these with your DM Make sure that you're utilizing information from your GM to make the best choices possible for those character background, personality traits, so that you have an immersive tie-in to the game's story. With the character we just kind of created on the fly, our Fire Genasi, going through and dialing in those background pieces really gave us a lot of backstory that we could play with, knowing that he used to be a guild member, that he had a childhood crush that he was trying to impress and get money for, that he used to be a cartographer, and kind of while he was in that process in a known village, came upon the idea of becoming an adventurer via arcane arts, becoming a wizard. So we created a lot of backstory just by selecting those components. By communicating that with our GM, we can even dial that in further and make sure that we're flowing in the game world really well. If there isn't a gnome village in the playing area that we're going to start in, we have lots of options that we can talk about with our GM. Maybe they started further away and they adventured quite a ways to start looking for opportunity to earn money. Maybe there is a gnome village and that's where the entire party is going to start. Who knows? By utilizing those tools and communicating them, we can together tell better stories, which in a role-playing game, it is about that communal storytelling. Now, as you're going out there and creating characters of your own, or if you've built 1 billion characters in the past, you're looking at new opportunities, new ideas, new techniques, don't hesitate to go online. Just be prepared that anytime you go online, you will have lots of differing opinions. Take them with a grain of salt. Make sure to communicate strongly with your table, with your GM, and with yourself to know what's right for you. I can't wait to hear what type of character concepts you've created and if this video has helped with your character creation. If it has, make sure to leave a comment below. Don't hesitate to reach out on our Facebook page, leave comments there, or give us an email. All the links, of course, are down below. If you like our content and want to continue making sure that you get it, make sure you hit that bell, give us that thumbs up. Let us know where your adventures take you. Thanks for checking out that video. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Also, if you don't mind getting the notifications, be sure to hit that bell so you can see when we're posting new content. Give us a thumbs up just so we can help reach new audience members. And leave a comment and let us know what you thought of this video, just so we can help create better content and better react to what you need. Additionally, here's another video we think you may enjoy. And, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe. And, of course, please be sure to let us know, where will your adventures take you?